Here's your golf swing analysis. Just so you know coming into it, this is going to be a longer form longer form video, not an interview. I'm going to dissect you alongside Ernie Els is who I picked here. No particular reason other than I think he just has a really solid, easy swing. It's probably why his nickname is the Big Easy. I think in terms of club head selection, you guys have a different club, so things change with your different club. I think you have an approach wedge. He probably has a longer wedge. But I want to just go through the body and the motion between the two of you and talk about some similarities and the main difference, okay? So let's start over here on the left side. Let's start with Ernie. So I'm going to play the video, and this is me with the cursor right there. I'm just going to flag a couple things. And what I'm going to flag initially is the angle. So I want you to notice on his left side, so here, the hip, the knee, and the foot. Okay, so as he goes, turns into his backswing, and we'll get you in the same position here in a second. His left knee is positioning into his right hip. So this angle here almost looks directly into his hip. He's squatted. That's a big thing I want you to focus on. He's squatted. There's a lot of activity in his feet, and you can almost see that. It almost seems like he's rooted and balanced and secure. So we've got his internal rotation right there. It's not a fake internal rotation, and I'll talk about what I mean by that in a second. It's a real hip internal rotation. How do I know that? Is because his body position. He's squatted down, he's powerful, and he's basically disassociating his pelvis with his mid-back. So not everything's is moving as a unit. We talked about this in class. This ability to disassociate your pelvis and your thoracic spine. He's moving relatively, meaning one part of his body is moving relative to the other. He's not orienting himself, meaning that his whole body isn't moving as a whole unison. Almost segments or pieces of his body are moving independently of the other. External rotation here, it almost looks like he's bow-legged, and that's just his pivot point. So he's using this really to wind in. So he's staying squatted, his belt buckle, his right hip pocket is being tucked away. So let's get you to the same position. I'm going to pull you in here. Okay. So yeah, a little closer than I like, but that's okay. I can probably get a general idea. So this is you. We're taking the club back. I want you to watch right away. Look at Ernie's image and look at your feet. It doesn't seem like you have any sort of a root or connection into the ground. It almost seems like your whole body is just moving to the side or rotating. Versus Ernie, let me get you to the same position. So you guys are both about the same position right there. Okay? Right there. Yeah, you guys are both in the same position. Versus look at Ernie's body. He's squatted, he's down. You're already extended. So this right leg is almost completely extended. You have no bow-leggedness. So you need your shape kind of more like that on the right side. There's a little bit of, I'll call it fake internal rotation for you on the left side, which just means that you don't really have the rotation in your hip. So just hip mobility that I've talked to you about a ton. You're basically just bypassing that by moving your whole entire body as a unit rather than staying squatted and moving just your hip. So the exercises that I would really recommend for you to do are the exercises for homework that we did in weeks 1 and 2. I think for you can't do enough of those. I think we need to really work on being rooted, that sense of connection and balance that you've heard me talk about with you for a while. So exercises like the 3-way hip circle, the foam roller with the wall, the foam roller adduction lunge exercise. I'll flag that one in the email that I send out with this video, just so you know what I'm talking about. The 90-90 hip series, all of those would be fantastic for you. And doing more deadlifts. So I think we need to do more motion where your hips are being moved back in space. So it just looks like all of your turn is happening from really your back and not really your lower body. So it's like your arms are doing the turn versus Ernie, his lower body. You can just see how powerful it is. So what I'll be looking for you is getting this more squatted, so getting your kind of right hip pocket, which it actually does a pretty good job of being tucked. So I can't see your right hip pocket, which is great, but once again, I think it's that fake rotation. And it's just solely happening from the upper body and not from your lower body. There's just no activity in your lower body like you see in Ernie's. So let's continue to play. Like I said, this is going to be a longer form, so just kind of bear with me. I'm going to get through all the points one way or the other. So let's go back to Ernie. So yeah, this is me talking about his head position. And let me pause that real quick because I noticed that about you as well, Tim. So you did this little sway. Like I talked about, your whole body's moving as a unit. Ernie his head is like completely stacked. It's right in line, and he's able to wind. So this is staying still, and he's winding up this way. If we go back to you, your head kind of sways. See that sway there? So once again, his head stays still. Your whole body moves as one unit. So that's why you sway. Sway like that. And that, like I said, that is just a byproduct of you not being able to be rooted into the ground. Your lower body has hardly any activity in the golf swing, which is something that I think is causing you to have power leakage. So you could be producing a lot more power if we just get your lower body involved in the swing and start to replicate some of these shapes like we see here. Obviously, Ernie is an elite, seasoned golfer, if you will, meaning that he's had thousands and thousands of hours practicing this, and this is his full-time job. So, but just getting in the ballpark in the same shapes is what I'm trying to educate you on. Okay, back to Ernie. Yep, there's me talking about that right there. Is me talking about his hip internal rotation. I talked about his belt line, and then this is a big thing. So watch here as he transitions from the backswing to the downswing. Watch what happens. I'm going to go back and play it again, I think. So look at the squatted. He's so squatted right there. He's so powerful in the lower body. So now in the transition, this side has the internal rotation, and this side starts to have the external rotation. So if we go back a little bit, watch the transition, how he leads with the lower body. Boom. His lower body is leading with that golf swing. If we go back to you, so you're there at your end range, what I would want you to do is almost squat into the downswing, compress the golf ball. What you actually do is just kind of use your upper body to facilitate that downswing. So what I would look for is your hips to drop. So right here, do your hips drop? Not really. So that's something that we can really work on going back to that same point I just made. Lower body needs more activity in the golf swing. So I'm not trying to be nitpicky or harping on you, but I'm just trying to really make you understand where I think you can gain 10, 15, 20 yards even on your swing with just some simple stuff of getting your lower body involved with a lot of repetition on these exercises. Let's go back to Ernie again. So one more time, like I said, this is going to be longer form, and I apologize, but I really want to hit home on this, just so you can really see what's going on. So here we go, boom. Look at the hip transition. The hips are leading in the swing. He's squatted and he's compressing down. All that weight's being transferred down. It's just a lot of activity in the lower body. And then once again, internal rotation, external rotation, the exact inverse of the backswing. See, look at that internal rotation. There's that bow-leggedness, that external rotation. That's what I'm showing there. So with you, if we go back to you, so to get you at the same position. So right there, look at that. You guys are both in the same position. Okay? So what are we not seeing? We're not seeing that shape. Yours is like this and like this. So you don't have the internal rotation. What is internal rotation most important for? Compressing the golf ball. Distance, distance, distance. So if we can't make that shape, we are leaking power. And that is why you kind of stand up in the swing instead of getting your lower body involved and squatted. So it's kind of all I wanted to cover. The main things for you would be a lot more influence from the lower body in the golf swing, and we'll continue to work on that with you. And then the biggest thing, that we've always talked about, even our one-on-one stuff, is the internal rotation and the hips. Your hips are super stiff. We just got to get some more range of motion there. And the homework specifically that I'm going to give you here in this email will help with that. So I hope all that made sense, Tim, and let me know if you have any questions or you're struggling to access this. All right, take care.